Welcome to our 2024 CBS19 Black History Month special. I'm Mariah Condiff. Black History Month is a time to highlight and pay tribute to the accomplishments of Black Americans. It's something we can easily do year-round, but this morning we're taking the time out to honor Black history that's been made right here in East Texas. But first, why do we celebrate? Carter G. Woodson came up with the idea of a History Week to encourage Black Americans to learn about their roots. He chose February because that's when Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass were born. Fun fact, it was a success, but for many, a week was just not long enough. Civil rights activists advocated for a month-long celebration instead. And in the 60s, college campuses extended the celebration to a month. Then in 1976, President Gerald Ford officially recognized February as Black History Month. Here in East Texas, Tyler ISD's Ora Elementary School kicked off the month in style by having a program filled with performances. And I mean, everybody was there, including the Ora Drumline, the Tyler High School Choir, and to ensure history is preserved, students portrayed important figures in Black history. Now, preservation is what Black History Month is all about, and this story we're about to show you is a prime example of that. Before integrating with Henderson ISD, Black students attended Concord Rosenwald School. I took a trip to Mount Enterprise to speak with two former students to find out what they're doing today to help preserve Black history in rural East Texas, and I even stumbled across a surprise of my own.
Well, it's such a beautiful history. My mom's people came into this area as slaves in 1850, and those slaves stayed in this area after emancipation, and built up the community, and they started their families, started churches.
And schools for the kiddos. One of those schools was Concord, built in 1925.
When I come back, it makes me to realize where I started, and I don't ever forget from where I started.
A building with decades of memories, now only a shell of what it once was.
It was a white building. We had a vocational agriculture building, we had an elementary building, and we also had a gymnasium.
Fast forward to today, the only building still standing is the high school. Alpheus Moss and Willie Adams are former students of the all-Black school.
I attended Concord from 1953 to 1967.
Graduated a group of 18. I was also valedictorian of my class.
During a time of racial disparities and segregation, they said as boys, their time at school was like any other kid.
I really appreciated the teachers.
Played basketball and baseball. We were well known in this area as a winning basketball team.
Despite the normalcy, Moss says he was aware of the inequalities.
Getting hand-me-down books and equipment, so there was no way for us to compare. So because that's the way the system worked, we got the hand-me-downs, and we were second-class citizens, so to speak.
Though segregation in public schools ended in 1954, Concord remained open until 1970 when it integrated with Henderson ISD.
My baby brother was 11 years old in 1971 when he had to leave school here and go to Henderson every day until he graduated from high school. The integration situation never really discussed with him very much.
As time went on, the white paint disappeared and Concord School became a distant memory, hidden behind the bordered exterior. But the Concord High School Alumni Association is working to change that.
Our goal is to have a museum, okay?
Well, why is it so important to preserve this history?
So that my children, grandchildren can come back and see what we went through.
Which is exactly what happened to me.
And guess who that is?
Oh my gosh, that's my grandma. Through uncovering the history of the Concord School, I stumbled across my own family history. My great-grandmother went to this school, and she graduated in 1953.
Hi, how you doing? Hi, Grandma. I'm good. I was just at work. I went to your school. And it was Concord. It's Concord, right?
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
amazing. Of course. All right.
Real-life example of how preserving history helps connect the past to the present. In Mount Enterprise, I'm Mariah Condiff for CBS 19. The school will be receiving a historical marker in the coming months. If you'd like to donate to support the transformation into a museum, we have all that information over on our website right now at cbs19.tv. Now, but like we said, Black History celebrates the accomplishments of the past with present-day actions. This year, the U.S. Postal Service is honoring 10 courageous men and women who helped with the Underground Railroad with a series of stamps. That's the secret network that helped enslaved people escape to freedom. Among those honored are abolitionists Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass. The forever stamps are for sale on the U.S. Postal Service's website and at your local post office. Now, when it comes to making history, East Texas is not shy of stepping up to the big stage. And did you know the former breakfast brand Aunt Jemima had connections right here in East Texas? I know I didn't, but check it out. Her real name is Lillian Richards, and she was born in Hawkins back in 1891. She was contacted by Quaker Oats to be one of the Aunt Jemima models, and for the next 23 years, she was one of a few faces of Aunt Jemima. In 1925, Richards started promoting products as Aunt Jemima, and in 1995, the Texas legislature named Hawkins the pancake capital of Texas. Gospel music has long been a part of the Black church, gaining recognition in the 1930s. Gospel music has deep, soulful history in East Texas, home to the country boy himself, Willie Neal Johnson. He performed with other gospel greats like Kirk Franklin and was inducted into the Gospel Music Hall of Fame all before passing away in 2001. He and his group, Willie Neal Johnson and the Gospel Keynotes, were nominated for a Grammy in 1980. They even won a Stellar Award for their achievements in the gospel music industry. From the arts to the playing field, there are plenty of talent here in East Texas, but none of these talents could be possible without people there to set the path. Now, Serenity Douglas joins us now. Serenity, you had the chance to talk to some coaches leading athletic programs here in our area. What can you tell us?
Honestly, it was great getting to catch up with all of them. There are so many powerful Black leaders across East Texas, and behind every good athlete is their coach. And these Black coaches end up becoming the athlete's teacher, mentor, and role model, and sometimes even family. I had the honor of sitting down with TJC's Trina Tillis-Hord and Tatum's Patricia Beckworth-Nelson to speak about inspiring the next generation.
Why do you feel like having a Black leader is so important for your athletes, and why was it important for you when you were playing?
I didn't have that representation, so I feel like having representation of people that look like you goes back to planting that seed, because even now, without me having representation at Stephen F. Austin, it's amazing when I look at the SEC and the amount of beautiful African American females that the SEC has decided to hire. This is at the highest level of basketball, and seeing a Dawn Staley be the highest paid female basketball coach. That's huge. That's huge for a person like myself to see, because in my lifetime I wanted to see it. And it's almost like seeing President Obama become president.
You coached Precious Ivy and Chelsea Hudson, and now they're coaches. So how does that feel for you to just see that?
It's fun. It's really fun because Chelsea, Bree is at Georgia Highlands. She's also one of my coaches, and Precious. It's fun because I feel like, I can't say I opened the door for them, but I think I cracked the door open, put my foot in there so that they can creep in. And it feels great. Now they're beating me and they're dominant, but that's a part of that legacy that I told you, is having that legacy is opening doors for other little girls that maybe they might go further.
Tell me why you believe having a Black coach, such as yourself, is so important.
Well, I think we can relate a lot because we've been through so much. And having a Black coach, we start out with compassion. Yeah, we love your talent, but we want you to be a better person when you leave us than when you came.
What's some advice that you try to give your girls that you wish that you got when you were younger?
to work hard. I mean, I keep saying that, but really that because I could have been so much better. I was good, but I could have been so much better. Technology is different now. You have no reason you can't do drills with TikTok and Facebook, and I mean, it's just so many more opportunities.
We hear so many stereotypes about black women in general, but black women who are leaders, such as coaches, teachers. Tell me about a stereotype that you have just been trying to break out of since you've become a coach.
We don't know anything. We don't know how to coach. All we do is scream and yell. And sometimes you get frustrated, and I have to catch myself because everybody thinks you're an angry black woman at all times. And sometimes you're not. You're just trying to be heard. You want to be seen. And I think a lot of times people don't see us and they don't hear us. And I want to break that stereotype. We are important and we are enough.
Absolutely love that story, Serenity. I think my favorite part about that is the fact that you used to be a student and collegiate athlete as well. So is that kind of what inspired you to do this story?
No, it absolutely is, because it's so much more than athletics, and it was so much more than athletics with my black coach. They end up literally becoming your family, and you are going to adhere to everything that they give you, all the instructions, because you know you can look up to them and their representation for you.
You definitely see them within yourself, for sure. I absolutely love that. Thank you so much, Serenity. Well, get your plates ready. Later in the special, we're taking a culinary dive into the history of soul food. Plus, a trailblazing professor with ties to the piney woods. After the break, we introduce you to Dr. Fluker. The name Irwin is a familiar staple in Tyler, and Councilwoman Dr. Shirley McKellar has ties to that name. As our Jesus Martinez explains, McKellar's sharing the story of where her ancestors came from and the piece of land that many overlook but is very rich in history.
Off Highway 64 in West Tyler, you may have missed a piece of land that holds a lot of history for the Rose City.
This property actually means a lot to me.
History that hits close to home for Tyler Councilwoman Dr. Shirley McKellar.
My ancestors actually used to live on this property. It was the Irwin plantation early in the 1800s when my family settled here.
This property is now home to an event venue. Fast forward a few centuries later, this same property hosted a reunion between long-lost family members in 2004.
My family received a letter from the Caucasian side of the family out of California and said that they wanted to come back into Tyler, meet some of the black Irwins, and come together and unify. And so it was an amazing event. A couple of my cousins that lived here in the city were able to attend, Larry and Pamela Irwin.
Dr. McKellar couldn't attend the reunion since she was stationed in Iraq. And though this property does look beautiful in the current day, it brings mixed feelings for her.
I could just visualize seeing my family out there. They worked with the roses. That was the big thing that they did, was roses, watermelons, and potatoes. I have some real mixed feelings about it. Because it was slavery time, I guess, is probably the reason.
And if the name Irwin sounds familiar, Dr. McKellar says her ancestors helped build Smith County, which is why you may see the name Irwin sprinkled across town.
My grandfather is that once he left from off of this plantation, he purchased his own land and 500 acres, for which I grew up on Highway 110.
In Tyler, Jesus Martinez, CBS 19.
Thank you so much, Jesus. Now, bricks not only help build houses, but soon they'll be helping to tell East Texas history. The Texas African American Museum in Tyler announced the beginning of their Brick by Brick fundraising campaign. A new brick garden featuring the names and accomplishments of local African American residents is being built in front of the museum on Martin Luther King Boulevard. For a $125 donation, you can honor a loved one. Their names and accomplishments will be carved into a brick planted around the Rosenwald School building historical marker in front of the museum.
If you have ancestors here back in Smith County, Tyler, Texas, and if you want to have those ancestors recognized, please feel free to give us a call. Purchase a brick and have their history noted.
Washington says honoring the contributions of your ancestors will help visitors explore, expand, and educate themselves in local African American history. And this month is about celebrating trailblazers. We want to introduce you to a history maker, Dr. Lori Fluker herself. She's one of the first Black professors at Texas State University, and Darrenisha Heron has more about her achievements and hurdles she faced to becoming the first of many.
What makes a story good? Yes, it serves a purpose. All right, so it's got to get the message across. We have a purpose in our lives, and our lives' stories make a difference. All right.
The story I'm about to tell you has all of those elements. In fact, it's one for the history books.
Again, my name is Lori Fluker. That's a tough one, by the way. And I've been here since 1989 at Texas State,
which was Southwest Texas State University at the time. The Houston native was hired on as a professor in the Department of Journalism to teach electronic media. And although it had been 25 years since the Civil Rights Act of 1964 made it illegal to discriminate on the basis of race for hiring, university officials confirm Fluker became one of the first Black female professors at Texas State University.
The number of African American professors, I think you could add them all on one hand. You know, the assumption is that if you're here and you're one of only a handful, you're here to meet a quota. And so certainly there may have been some of that along the way, some assumptions that were made that I'm only here because I'm female and I'm Black.
Fluker's resume, proudly displayed in her office, proves otherwise, earning a Bachelor of Science for History and English, a Master's of Fine Arts for Broadcast Journalism, and a doctorate in philosophy for radio, television, and film.
If you'll notice on the Wiley College degree, my father signed my degree because he was president of the college at the time.
Wiley, a historically Black college in East Texas, where Fluker started the mass communication program, the same college her father and grandfather earned degrees.
My grandfather was the son of a slave. And so he was one of the first Blacks in the state of Texas to get a degree and get a teaching certificate.
So paving the way through education is her family's way.
This is my family. I've got twins and an older son. These two are double graduates of Texas State. This is one of the largest honors that Texas State gives, and it was one of my first, the Teaching Award of Honor.
Fluker is the first Black person chosen for this award, and she's received countless others since then.
There's my Academy of Television Arts and Science Foundation. Those are the folks that give the Emmys away.
But the ones that mean the most are chosen by her students.
My students are some of the best that I could ever ask for. And that's what makes this such an enjoyable occupation for me, is that every Tuesday, I don't need an alarm clock. I wake up on my own.
Today, Fluker is the Associate Dean in Texas State's College of Fine Arts and Communication, and the Associate Professor, vibrantly teaching hundreds of mass comm students every semester.
I'm in a movie with Denzel. If he had given me a second look, I was going to leave my husband. Never had to worry about it, he did not.
With over 35 years of making sure her students feel seen, heard, and prepared.
Am I assuming Louisiana somewhere in there? All right, Ed did. That's New Orleans. All right, here we go.
So, if you want to know what makes a great story, talk to the woman who's living one.
Well, what's a Sunday without some soul food? After the break, our Ron Everett takes a closer look at the history and what soul food means to some East Texans.
Well, soul food is a cherished tradition passed down through the generations. It holds a special place in the hearts of many in the Black community. I had the privilege of speaking with 4 East Texans who own local restaurants here in Tyler, each with a unique story of how soul food has impacted their lives and community.
When you think of soul food, you might imagine oxtails, collard greens, catfish, and candied yams.
This is how you make Auntie's sweet candied yams.
But it's more than just those classics.
Soul food is really love on a plate.
It's a taste of tradition and community.
You take your meal, you prepare it, for your family, your loved ones, your friends, and you come out with a great meal, and that's what's called soul food.
Soul food, and Brenda Campbell knows it well. She's the co-owner of Blessed Hands Barbecue. She runs the business along with her son, Michael Jones.
I've always wanted to cook, ever since I was young.
Who's now cooking the same meals alongside his mom that she cooked for him as a child.
I try to look at myself as the uncle everybody loved at the family reunion. You know, the one on the pit, the one putting all the good meats out, the one everybody knows, the one just that one uncle in everybody family that they do all the cooking, everybody respects them.
Soul food originated during slavery in the United States. It blends West African cooking traditions with ingredients found in the American South. Enslaved Africans used scraps and less desirable cuts of meat to craft flavorful dishes steeped in history and culture. Evolving over time, soul food remains a cherished culinary tradition, celebrated for its robust flavors and cultural resonance. And your favorite soul food restaurant can also be your favorite hangout.
They're happy that we're in the neighborhood. They're happy that we're open, that we're still here. People just come and say, just thank you for being open, thank you for being here. So that's just rewarding in itself.
And one of Soul Food's closest cousins is expanding its footprint in East Texas.
Soul food is home cooked food. You know, soul food is food that, you know, fills you up. Soul food is not identified as a culture, it's identified as a feeling.
Jennifer Blake brought Caribbean Kitchen to Tyler.
We want them to enjoy our food, and we want them to get a taste of the Caribbean, and perhaps because of our food, they'll take a trip out of, you know, Tyler just to, you know, go and enjoy the Caribbean.
Soul food is a special gift that families share with each other. When someone learns to cook it, they often learn from someone in their family who cooked it before them.
My Aunt Roberta.
It's a family heirloom that keeps on giving.
She cooked for the hospital, but she also cooked for her family. She cooked for her community.
My cousin, I learned a lot from him cooking and from him doing barbecue and the way he moves, and my other uncles.
I should have paid more attention to my mother and my father because I didn't. I've learned in trial and error.
Soul food connects families and strengthens bonds. It's not just about the food itself. It's about the stories and memories woven into each dish.
It's history, it's tradition, it's, you know, it's generational traditions.
Creating a legacy to be passed on to future generations.
Bringing down recipes from my childhood that my mom brought from her childhood and that I can now impress on my children and give them something to be able to pass on to my grandchildren and my children's children's children.
In Tyler, Ron Everett, CBS 19.
James Weldon Johnson was an American writer and civil rights activist. He was a leader of the NAACP, where he started working in 1917. He was also a poet, and in 1900, he put his pen to paper and wrote the national hymn, Lift Every Voice and Sing. Now, to many people today, it's known as the African American National Anthem. Now, we would like to thank all of you for joining us for our Black History Month special. We're going to end with Jared Shears from the Texas College Choir. Jared, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
How long have you been at Texas College?
I've been at Texas College since 2018, when I was a freshman.
Perfect. So what year are you right now?
I'm a senior.
Yes, come on, senior year, graduation. How long have you been with the choir?
I've been in the choir for 2 years now.
And you think you can sing, huh?
I know I can sing.
All right, well, prove it to us right now. Jared is gonna sing Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Thank you. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.